Alright, now I chose to make this distance existence video at this later point in time because as you understood the concepts of the previous videos of distance existence, this will make much more sense. And it's relatively easy once you understand the other concepts, right? For this one, we're going to understand the answers to the question of the interrogative word asa, or in some dialects, aha, right? But asa is what we're going to focus on. And once again, you need to understand what asa, what the definition of asa, and what asa implies as. With asa, again, it expresses that verbal, or I guess with this distance existence video, sorry, these words right here, they express the verbal actions or verbal imperatives. So you're going to see some sort of verbal motion or verbal movements, okay? The other distance existence expressed location and existence. This one expresses a verb, some sort of action going on, okay? And once again, since it's asa, we're looking at the incomplete incepting and actions that haven't begun yet. That should be a no-brainer for you, since we have been beating the dead horse so many times on that, right? Here are our words. I don't need to go over them, but I do need to talk to you about the combinations that they can be in, I guess, used with these words here. Now, because these are verbs, right, and they are verbs that express motion or movement, right, they will need to have some sort of destination, right? So these special words, because they're verbs of location, have to have an end location. So then we can use the other words that we learned in our first parts of the distance existence relations with the location words, right? And it works well with if you have a location and the verbal action, right? So you don't need to have the location words. You can just use these verbal actions to indicate a movement of somewhere, right? You can just say, Ari, anha na. Or, adto lang dito, right? Adto lang, anha lang, anhi, dinhi, right? But we, again, with what I just said, location is key. And normally they're going to be paired up with a location. Now, it's always and always going to be like this. You can never mix and match them, right? The key here is rhythm and rhyme does the time. So here, if Ari can take the location of diri and only diri and diri's derivatives, right? Anhi, the same thing. Anhi for dinhi, anha for dinha, and addo for diddo, right? The nhi, nha, ri, and do, right? Do, nha, nhi, and ri. So those are the only words that can be paired up with each and every one of these specific verbal actions of movement. All right. You can never say ari dinha or ari diddo. No, you cannot. They have to rhyme. Ari diri, anhi dinhi, anha dinha, addo diddo. Okay, those are the only combos that you can have. And again, that's what makes these verbs of motion special, because they can be with these in combination with the location, distance, existence words. This timeline here can kind of show you the perspective, right? And again, this all goes down to Einstein's relativity theory, the general relativity and space-time concept. If you understand that well, you can understand these timelines well, right? The first we have, right, is our event or verbal action, whether it was already completed or haven't completed yet or will be going, right? It's a progressive spectrum. The bottom one is our location line, whether something is an object is moving closer versus an object is moving further away from you, or what is relative to you or relative to the speaker or relative to whichever person, right? It's just relativity in that manner. So relative in distance, right, via location, and relative in movement via time or whenever the event was expressed, okay? So you can kind of look at that as a guideline. But again, this is just a quick review because you should already have a good understanding of this, right? The examples, there you go. The examples that I have down here can kind of clarify that too, okay? And again, this is just your little basic explanations of these distance existence relationship verbs or verbal actions, because we're going to add on more to this later. So understand this concept. The first question we have is asa ta mangaon, right? Asa. And again, asa expresses what? The incomplete, right here, incomplete, incepting, and not began yet, right? So it makes sense why we have to use this mang prefix, okay? Asa ta mangaon. Okay, this makes sense, and asa makes sense. Okay, great. And the ta makes sense. That's why we use mang, because it's a plural in the mag, plural in the mag prefix. Next question is asata mag-anhi, mag-anha, mag-adto, mag blah, 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 right? It doesn't matter as long as you have this marker, this absolutive marker here that, or this focal marker here that in the focus that marks something that hasn't been done yet, right? And asa expresses that too. And again, you can't say something like diin ta mag-anhi. It's weird because diin again expresses, it's the wrong interrogative and expresses the completed or incepted already versus asa, which hasn't. Now, this is where I want to talk to you about language change, because some people do say that, all right, and it's probably an error, or it's probably a cue that the Cebuano language is changing, you know. The next one we have is asa dapit magdula sila. Where are they gonna play, right? Anhi dinhi, anhat lang dinha, or anhat dinhat lang. You know, anhat dinhat lang. Just go there. Anhi dinhi, come here, go there. To come and to go, and that goes again in this whole location, right? Come closer, go further. To come and to go. Anhi dinhi, anhat dinha, adto dito, right? Ari diri lang, you know. Come closer, go further. Okay? So I hope this can really give you an idea of this location and verbal actions of the relations in the distance existence. Okay, because once we start putting the demonstrative pronouns, things are gonna start changing up a bit, and you need to have a solid understanding of this.